Well, what they do for a dollar an hour is what you and I wouldn't do for $20 an hour. It's strenuous work, it's hard work, it's mentally exhausting as well as physically exhausting. It includes long hours, 12 to 14 hours a day. Physical labor is the norm. And of course, it's dangerous work.
CDF tries to take as many precautions as they can to not put people in hazardous situations. But fire is dynamic and things change rapidly.
Bodfish, California, San Luis Obispo, Stanislaus, Klamath. Summer in California. And once again, a small army of assorted firefighters and support personnel prepare to do battle with California's forest demons. California Department of Corrections, California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, and the Department of Youth Authority. Brown, yellow, green, and prison blue. Parlin Fork Conservation Camp, 450 miles from Los Angeles, but the 120 inmates here call it home. Like 48 other conservation camps in California, it has no fences, no walls, no towers. It doesn't need any. The inmate firefighters worked hard to be assigned to this camp. Camps like this one are spread over 133,000 square miles of state, local, and national forest lands. They house the state's front-line fire suppression and conservation crews. Camps range from the Oregon border in the north, south, all the way to the Mexican border. Each one is an example of cooperation between two state agencies, the California Department of Corrections and the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. 9 of the 48 camps are jointly administered by Forestry and the California Youth Authority. 5 other camps are operated by Corrections and the Los Angeles County Fire Department. 46 of the camps house male crews, while 2 house female crews. Camp responsibility for crew work projects and firefighting rests with the Department of Forestry Camp Ranger. Under his or her supervision, forestry captains and their inmate crews range over a wide area, performing the work few others will do. At Antelope Camp, in the far northeast corner of California's Cascade Range, is Forestry Captain John Bodie.
The main reason we're even here is for fire control. Of course, fire control isn't year-round, so then we get into grade work during the non-fire season, and the grade work consists of just about anything you can imagine concerning conservation. We also get involved quite a bit in construction projects. We also do a cleanup alongside the highways, trash. We pick up trash. In this particular area, we've done an awful lot of work alongside the highways for Caltrans up in the hills. We do an awful lot of park work, state, federal, county parks.
While forestry is responsible for the inmates' awards when they are working, the Departments of Corrections and Youth Authority are responsible for them the remainder of the time. The job rests on the shoulders of the Corrections Camp Lieutenant Administrator or Youth Authority Superintendent. Alder Camp is the responsibility of Corrections Lieutenant Jack Riley.
Inmates, when they arrive at the camp, generally have about a 12-month release date from the time that they get here. And that is a motivating factor in the fact that they know that they're going to get out soon, and it helps them to maintain a good behavioral pattern. The inmates that we accept here cannot ever be convicted of murder 1, murder 2, arson, escape, or any type of sex offense, and escape within the last 10 years. Our inmates, most of the time, are here because they want to be here. It's a desirable living space for them, where they're not competing with several thousand inmates in a main institution. Most of the camps have a maximum population of 120, which gives them a lot more living space.
At Parlin Fork Camp, Lieutenant Larry Olson has the job.
These inmates have been screened very well, first at the guidance centers in Vacaville and Southern California, and then at the parent institution they go through a classification process and then are trained in forestry training and are exposed to the type of work we do here at that facility and graded, have to pass of all the courses and are tested for physical fitness and their attitudes toward the work ethic and firefighting before they're even sent here. So it gives us a pretty good inmate by the time they went through all the processes, by the time they get here. Our counting is our main security system, where we count every 2 hours on a 24-hour basis. But the inmates' desire to be at this location and do their offense time here rather than in the institution determines their behavior a great deal, where if they don't do well here, they go back to the institution, so therefore they'll behave themselves in an acceptable manner.
A forestry crew captain is a unique blend of conservationist and team leader. At Los Robles Camp in Southern California, Ranger Dan DeLitz is responsible for his 7 crew captains.
I hear on a daily basis when the captains come back, they usually always have stories, most of them good. And the captain, the fire captain develops a rapport with his crew, almost like a family, and they're proud of their crew. They have a lot of respect for each other.
At Alder Camp on the Klamath River near Oregon, Forestry Captain Eric Fry works his 17-member crew.
Mostly the work that we do at Alder Camp is with State Parks. State Parks has a lot of work that needs to be done, and like everyone else, they work with a restricted budget and don't have a whole lot of money to hire people to do the work. It turns out to be a good deal that we can do it for them. We do a lot of trail maintenance and trail construction. Mostly the projects are interesting. There's enough different types of things to do that you can keep the interest up among the inmates and also among the captains.
Pine Grove Youth Conservation Camp, with custody of 116 wards, 18 to 25 years old. Camp Superintendent Herman Roberts deals every day with his staff of Youth Authority counselors.
I can honestly say here at Pine Grove Camp, our staff here are very interested in trying to help facilitate some positive changes in these young men so that when they return to the community, we reduce the recidivism rate. One of the things that we believe is that each young man has an opportunity for change. We have to believe that each young man that comes through here, there is a key to motivate him to do some positive things for himself that would then enhance his chances of being successful on parole. We also believe we owe that to the taxpayer who pours a lot of money into the correctional system. And they're saying to us as specialists and professionals, hey, do something to make a better product out of the individual that's coming into your facility.
Mount Bullion Camp, 10 miles from Mariposa. Youth Authority Superintendent Cynthia Perkins is responsible for 116 young men.
The work program teaches them how to work. They may not use the same kinds of skills that they learn when they go back in the community, but they know what it's like to work for bosses. They know what it's like to have progress reports and evaluations and to have to get along with people that are working with them side by side, especially in the fire situation where it's sometimes a real emergency kind of situation.
If I don't instill in that guy the main things that's going to be required out there from any employer, and that is be to work on time and good work habits. All the money that I spent training that guy in a righteous trade, such as welding, cooking, or whatever, it's money thrown away. At least here, I think we can see an end result. And I personally feel if there's one man per year on your crew that you can really instill this in, then you've accomplished something that no one else in the system's been able to accomplish. It's unfortunate that the general public doesn't really realize how much work is being done out there by our crews. We all go to campgrounds. We don't think about who's keeping the campground clean, who's painting the outhouses, who's doing this, who's doing that. You never see them. We're never usually in there when the general public is around. There's some areas that we will be. General public might be camped in that half of the campground. We'll be working in this half. But we don't let them know that this is going on. I think it's very unfortunate. We're not letting the general public know. Cleaning up trash, the hours involved out there beautifying the sides of the highways, timber stand improvement out in the middle of the woods for our agency and other agencies.
While out of sight of most of California's people, camp work is noticed by citizens who live near the camps. Cecil Webb is a resident of Susanville and owner of the local radio station.
At least once a month, we will see crews out along our highways who are picking up the cans and the litter that is out there, and the edge of the highway will be lined with orange bags just waiting to be picked up. Our entrance to town, the little park that is there, they put in trees, they put in sod. They come back every several weeks and mow it. Same thing with our major parks, our Memorial Park. They come in and fix that up. Our Little League fields, our Bobby Sox fields. In the recent fires that hit California very hard, the Department of Corrections and our local institution have been very important in fighting those fires. There have been 1,800 inmates, as we understand, statewide, have been out fighting those fires. 500 from the California Youth Authority. And we know that roughly 700 of them are in camps that have been based around us. And we've been very thankful to have them, because otherwise we would have been in bad trouble if we had not had those inmates, and they were trained. If we had not had them out on those fire lines, it could have really hurt us.
What the 4,000 inmates and wards accomplish statewide in both work projects and fire suppression is significant. In 1987, corrections inmates alone worked over 1,800,000 hours on conservation projects and over 1,190,000 hours on fire suppression. This resulted in a taxpayer savings of at least $9 million in conservation work and over $14,200,000 in firefighting costs if these same services were to be performed by contract or additional state employees.
The wards save the taxpayers money through coming to camp, both by the projects that they do, the work that they do in the community, as well as the protection that they offer during fire season. They stay off the tax rolls, the welfare rolls, when they get out into the streets, because they're better prepared to get a job.
There has to be a cooperative relationship between CDF and CDC. It's not like we check them out in the morning and they're ours, and we check them back in at night and they're theirs. We have to work together. We have to communicate and have a common goal and have some consistency between the grade and the camp.
Every year, that cooperation is pushed to the limit. May, June, July, August, September, October. 6 months that are hot, dry, and flammable.
The conservation camps, when they're involved in emergency work, are normally a long ways away from the news cameras and all the glory. We're kind of like the infantry of the fire service, and it's dirty work and it's hard work, but there's a lot of personal satisfaction when you see what the crews do and what they're able to accomplish. The hand crews are normally on a wildland fire or off by themselves, normally without support of any fire engines or water. And they're normally out ahead of the fire and just in a more dangerous situation than most of the other firefighting activities.
On a fire, a hand crew basically cuts line. That's removing fuel in front of the fire. When the fire burns to the area where the fuel is removed, the fire goes out. There's nothing for it to burn.
Fire crews. On mountains too steep for engines or bulldozers. There are only 2 ways to fight a fire, by air or on foot. Plans are made for the attack. The fire crews are given the responsibility to cut containment lines around the fire, to stop its relentless movement. They must hold that line.
The hand crews are categorized type 1, 2s, and 3s. and your federal hotshot crews are Type 1 crews. So we're in the same category as a federal hotshot crew, whether it's Forest Service or BLM.
Forestry Captain Mary Tierney is one crew captain with years of experience on the fire line.
Every one of us, I think, want to be part of something bigger than we are, personally. So they are running in that capacity out on the streets. When they come into a fire crew situation, this is a very positive influence. And there's nothing quite like having a convoy of 6 crew buses going to a fire. It's just an up feeling. All the training and everything they've gone through is suddenly coming to be. Here you are going to a fire. They do realize and they do feel they're doing something for the community. We all meshed together on this one line assignment, and it was a real killer. We had to go up a fuel break, and the area was extremely steep and outrageous. We had never been there on a night assignment before, so there's a lot of danger in that capacity. We couldn't see out. You had no idea where the main fire was, except for by radio contact. And these people kept on and on and on all night long. It was just like they were just an energy machine nonstop. Tiredness is there, but you can see the pride, the realization of what they did accomplish. And they needed a freeway through there, and they gave it to them. You could see it from the air, out of a huge ravine. They were very proud of themselves. They deserve it.
Well, a great deal of personal satisfaction from myself comes especially towards the end of the fire season, when the crews of 6 months ago that came in that had no skills and no work ethic, and no respect for authority to speak of, and to watch the captains being able to groom and train and change their behavior, and then see that product at the end of the fire season with just a well-tuned firefighting crew that really makes you proud.
For $6.25 a week, people have no idea what these people do. We're talking a ward that is sent up a 90-foot tall tree to cut limbs out for $6.25 a week. The personal danger involved in not just firefighting, but our projects are tremendous. And it's not a rarity. It's a common thing with these folks. And I have a great deal of respect for that, because they rise above themselves, and they're invaluable to the community. And the community has no idea or awareness of how much they do for next to nothing.
The camp program is the real positive end of the Department of Corrections, in my opinion, and I enjoy being part of it. And being commander of this facility, it gives me some pride and self-motivation to make it the best facility that I can, and have the people, staff and inmate alike, to want to stay here and keep a positive attitude going, and it's been good for me.
It's gratifying to go out and help put out fires and have people smile and pat you on the back and thank you. It's very rewarding. Our position out here, I feel in our position out here, we're a viable part of the community, and the fact that we help maintain the community and we put a lot of resource into it, and that makes me feel good, because I'm in a community that I really enjoy being in, and the community enjoys us being, or appreciates us being here because of what we do for them, and that really makes us feel good at the camp.
Well, I think that it's important for the general public to know that we're utilizing wards and inmates, not only for emergencies, but for community service and conservation work projects. I don't think we should try to hide the fact that those crew buses going down the road to project work and emergencies or anything else than inmates and wards. I think it's real important that they know that that service is available to the citizens of California, and they're doing a good job at it.
For more than 40 years, California's conservation camp system has been quietly furnishing untold assistance to rural communities. California Department of Corrections, Department of Youth Authority, Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. An agency partnership as successful as it has been worthwhile for the people of California.